So I've had this lathe in my garage for about 10 years and I never really used it, at least nothing of significance. So I thought I'd start learning how to turn bowls, and first thing I did was go to YouTube to figure it out. So here I have a glued up block of cherry and I measured the center. I created a radius from the center and used the bandsaw to cut off the edges. Here I'm demonstrate how I find the center to mount the faceplate for turning. So I have the center and I drill some pilot holes to put the fasteners in and speed it up through this, a little bit redundant. I thread it onto the chuck, bring it in close and set the speed. Here I'm using a carbide insert uh, turning tool. It's a square insert just to true up the outside. And again, looking forward to comments of what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong. And then here I start trying to use a bowl gouge. Again, that's very experimental. Realize it's a great way to remove stock in a pretty fast way. But still, I'm trying to figure out how to catch the edge right, make sure I don't dig into the material. It's working out pretty good. Uh, Working on the bottom, just try to get the right shape for the bowl. Again, this is dried cherry. It's a cherry tree that I had cut down from a back woods of my property, let it dry for several years and glued it up. It's got some great color to it. I've made some furniture, but thought I'd give a hand at turning some of it as well. So here, really struggling to try to get that edge to catch and get rid of all the marks on it. Did a little bit of sanding there. Um, Here I'm creating the mortise for the flip side. It's a little over 2-inch diameter that I need to achieve in order to flip it around and grab the chuck. And here I'm using a Robert Sorbet or Sorbert, I think it is, um, sanding tool. Really nice tool as it spins around. It also drives the head with the sandpaper. And I'm working from about 60 up to 1200 on the sandpaper. Um, and then here I set a cloth on the bed ways to protect it. This is a product that I picked up from Woodcraft. That this is the first coat is a sander sealer. Great stuff. Very aromatic, very strong fumes. So you want to make sure you use it in a well ventilated area. And I've got a protective glove on so it doesn't get on my skin. Waited a little while for it to dry. Make sure it's dry. And then this is a second Mylands product, again from Woodcraft. And this is the first coat of a wax that I'm putting on. And again, great stuff. Turn it on a low speed. As it sped up, it looked like it was kind of fast, but work that in, let it dry for a little bit. Uh, Came back and did a little bit of a polish. And then here I'm using a carnauba wax, which I'm told is the hardest known wax, natural wax. I apply it and then use a piece of paper towel to, I guess, burn it in or melt it in with enough friction. You can kind of see the line as it goes. Uh, Here I just took the faceplate off, turned it around, starting off with the tail stock just for the added structural integrity of the setup. Again, starting out with the bowl gouge. Also working on my camera technique. You'll see it a little bit later where I cover it up most of the time. But yeah, great way to remove a lot of material. Um, and I think that's where I changed back to a carbide tool, just a little bit more comfort, a little easier, but it has a tendency to tear a little bit more as opposed to cut. And this is a longer, smaller radius, so you get less chatter, less pushback. Still carbide insert tool. Seemed to work really well. It was able to remove the material from the inside uh, safely and effectively. Here I'll continue to remove the inside, occasionally checking the wall thickness. You don't want to, you want to be as consistent as possible. I know there are measuring tools for this. And then this is one way I saw to remove that center. Just take a Forstner bit on the drill press. You can bring it to depth. It's somewhat of an easy way to get there. I know a lot of people just leave it in the lathe. I guess I'm not sure if there's pros or cons. Again, hopefully people who know how to turn are watching this and will leave some comments. Certainly always look forward to constructive criticism as to how I can improve my technique. Um, yeah, this is where I really messed up the camera sight. And started using the scraper. So yeah, the carbide has a tendency to tear more, where the scraper will shear, or using a spindle gouge will help shear the material, more of a cut than a scrape or tear out. But again, with the sanding, just keep sanding, working up the grits until I have something that is acceptable. Yeah, the Robert tools are fantastic tools. I have a few wood chisels as well, but I just keep working up the grit. To the right, on the right of the screen, you can see a 4-inch PVC pipe. I use that for a downdraft connected to my vacuum system or chippy vac system. Although you can see the motor doesn't get everything. Again, starting out with a sander sealer from Mylands, great product. Make sure it's applied well on the inside. Using an old cotton sock to put it on. I'm not sure if that's the right way or not. Seemed to work though, and starting to really bring out the beautiful cherry. Let it dry a little bit, and then using Scotch-Brite product. I don't think it's Scotch-Brite, but something very similar to just hit the rough spots off the sander sealer and make sure it's clean-ish, and go for the first coat of wax. Again, another Mylan product. I used it earlier. Different sock. Make sure you shake it. You can see it settle out fairly quick. Solvent in the solids. Get a good coat on. I always protect the ways. Rub it in well. I put a liberal coat on in there. Yeah, you can see it start to really bring out the color again. Some of it's color, some of it's end grain that I didn't really cut very well. Again, learning as I go, and appreciate any kind of suggestions as to how I can improve the end grain cut. Again, waiting for it to dry a little bit. I think I cut some time out of there just so it wouldn't sit there. Yeah, zoom in a little bit to really capture the grain. And I believe I hit this with carnauba as well. Give it a nice, just general polish with the sock. And then take the carnauba bar, melt a little bit more on the rim, and then on the inside. Just didn't take very long as it goes. You get a little bit on there, but then really how this shines out, polishes out, is where you take the little piece of paper towel, put a lot of pressure on it. I think I have the RPMs going, actually maybe a little bit too slow, but as you increase it, put a lot of pressure, there you go, increase the RPMs, put a lot of pressure on it, and you'll start to feel it warm up in your fingertips, and then you'll see the line of wax going on the bowl. And what you try to do is push that line of wax all the way through, so it's a single layer. And boy, it really turns out nice. Hopefully I can capture how nice it turns out on the video. Give it a little polish with a cotton sock, and there it is. Taking it out of the chuck and trying to demonstrate it with a very upside down video. But anyways, it's one of my first bowls. You can see the bottom isn't exactly smooth, and but turned out really well. Quick safety note: never leave the key in the chuck. If you turn it on, that becomes a bullet going across the shop. Safety first. Thanks for watching.